Hi, it's Nancy. Welcome to Garden Scroll.
I have been busy as a little beaver. I went ahead and I think I maybe already told you that I did get this cleaned out, but I also went ahead and put some seed in both of them. And a lot of things say they take a cold period, so I was thinking I needed to plant, and it does say plant in the fall. But I also looked on the packages of the seeds that I planted, and it said to plant in the fall if you're in a non-freezing where it doesn't freeze. So of course we freeze here in Oklahoma. Everything's gonna freeze. So I probably did this for nothing, but we'll see. We'll see if anything comes up. I'm going to keep it wet for a while and see what happens. But I put poppies, several different kinds, coneflowers, several different kinds, a few hollyhock seeds, and I left the back part of this just totally. I'll still put something else in there. So, and they may not do anything. I'll probably have to do them all over again. And in early spring, when it says it needs a cold period, if you're not in a winter hardy area, it actually means not fall, I guess, is what it looks like to me, is that it simply means to do it early in the spring when it's still, when the ground is still cold. And here in Oklahoma, we always, or most always, have a late freeze or late frost, which is probably perfect for them, probably just what they need. So I probably should have waited until early spring. So I did save some of my seeds so I could do it all over again in the spring. But you know, most of us, and especially me, learn from our mistakes because I usually have to make a mistake to learn from it. But anyway, that's what I've probably done here, but we'll see. Some of these may go ahead and come up. So yesterday I washed my back windows, and today I'm going to try to tackle the ones here in the front. If I can, that's going to be another story, although I did learn a wonderful way for cleaning off gyp water or hard water, lime scale, all the different things you call it. But I did learn a good way to do it. I've taken a paint scraper and scraped this stuff off in the past. I've taken vinegar and water and scrubbed and got a great deal of it off, but not all of it off. And so what I ended up doing, and I'll take you around back to show you the difference. So what I ended up doing was I got a spray bottle. I put a product called the Works Bathroom Bowl Cleaner in it, and I sprayed it on and used one of those little sponges that have the scratchy surface on it, and it didn't come just right off, but practically it came right off. I had to do it a couple of times for each window, but to me it was absolutely amazing how well it worked after all the trouble I've had in the past. It just pretty much came right off of there, and the sun is streaming through on the other side now, so my little plants that I bring inside will be happy this winter. I even used it on some of my gazing balls. I didn't get them just real well because I just was running out of daylight time to get everything done, but it still looks way better than they did. And I went ahead and divided my hosta, and I put one little piece here, and this is where my original piece was. And I left the smallest piece here, and it's kind of looking like it may have a hard time standing back up, but I believe it will. It does have a good root. And then the other piece that I took off when I divided is right back here, which you can't see it just real well, but sometimes it's just like a little empty place back here, and this way it won't look empty when you do see it. And I'm thinking that this light yellow greenish color will shine out and help you to see it better there too. So I know you're listening to my neighbor mow his lawn today. I'm sorry, but I wanted to get these on before I get started cleaning those front windows, because I may never get back to here. Surprise lilies. You'll notice they have no foliage on their stalks. That's why they're called surprise lilies. They put their foliage on in the spring, and then they just put up a bare stalk. They're also sometimes called naked ladies because they come up on that bare stalk. But look at this beautiful red. This is what I told you about profusion zinnies. Oh my goodness, in the fall they just take off and go and put up a profusion of beautiful zinni color. I love this color too. This is one of my favorites. I love the profusion zinnies, and I love this pretty creamsicle color. I also just noticed that I have a little cosmos trying to bloom. If I can get it where it's not blurry. And that white tuft in the background is chocolate plant. I love that plant. It's just a pretty little green all the time, a dark green with chocolate stem, chocolate colored stem. But it's those white tufts that I wait for. So the weather did get hot up in the 90s, so a lot of my little coleus clippings that I started are wilty looking. And I noticed this one right over here, especially the one that was larger than the others, and it looked so good, but it's all wilty too. So they may or may not make it. Honestly, they may still make it. I will have to trim off this dead part, but if they have made a root and the weather gets a little cooler without getting too cold for them, they will be very pretty too. They will come right out of that. I cleaned out my little girl's pond. I even used some of my spray on this, but I didn't take much time on it, as you can tell. But it still looks better than it did. To brighten it up, take some of that hard water deposits off of it. I put some little clips of that Santolina into some of these pots back here in the back too, and I think they will root, and then next year they'll probably kind of take over the edge of this pot, which is what I'm hoping, so that it'll be able to have something in it that will work even for the heat when I can't get it watered good enough. And then I actually put some of my Russian sage over here. I'm not sure I want that there really. It's pretty, but I think it may get too big and too bushy for this area, if it even roots, which it may not root there. I also put just a little piece in this one too, and these may not root, but they very well may too. There's still time for them to, I think, and we'll see, because they do need a good little start, especially in pots, for them to live through the winter. But we're going to try that, because for one reason, if you want to just try something like that in the fall, it's no loss. It could be a gain that you'd have another plant, and this part of the plant is going to die anyway. It's a deciduous plant, so the thing that we're trying to get right now is the root. If it gets the root going good, we'll clip the dead foliage off of it, and it'll put fresh new foliage up next spring. And we've got a new plant from an old plant. The old plant will be back, and the new plant will be going strong, and that's the hope. And if it's not, we'll just clip one off in the spring and try again. I also put some in this little pot right here. Let me see if I can get over there where you can see it, but it's just right down in here, and I think that'll take off up the whole back side of this pot and not need a lot of water, and I think it will just be perfect for this area. There is still a lot I did not get done, and this is one of them right here, right in this area. Is some Shasta daisies, and they'll need to be divided and either just put along the same area, which I may do, or in a different area. They're always pretty in the summertime, so hopefully I'll get those in several different places. And what you see there with them is more of that tie-dye morning glory. I noticed there's some more right over here looking pretty this morning too. This little bird was hidden down under my Russian sage in that pot in the back. When I put it in that pot, I decided to take this one and bring it up front, move it around a bit. But back to the job at hand, and why I may never get back to taking pictures today. After I get this cleaned, I also well, not after, but before I can get to it to clean it, I have got to find a way to put a ladder up there. So I'll have to move out some of these pots, and in order to move out some of these pots, I'll have to clip back some of this beautiful foliage. I just love all these colors, but I will probably clip quite a bit of this back just in order to get over there and get my windows clean, so my little plants will be happy inside, which I definitely want them to be. This is more of that chocolate plant, and I just love these little tufts. They're just, I don't know, they're just kind of like fluffy fairyland. They're so pretty, soft and beautiful. I love them. And of course these windows also the same thing. So many pots will have to be moved before I can get in there. I wasn't sure I wanted to even try to tackle that job today, because there's several things I want to get done inside today, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea to try that now, but I probably will, just for the fact that I would love to have it done, and that's a wonderful feeling you know, when you have an accomplishment, it's not something that needs to be done, it's something that is done, and that always makes me feel better. But still, my favorite part is just looking at everything and taking pictures of it so you can see it too. Thank you so much for going on the garden scrolls with me. I enjoy it more when I know that you're out there too, or even when I think you might be out there too, wanting to see this, wanting to scroll around the garden with me. And I need to get these beautiful black elephant ears in here again. I got some for my friend Joy, and I hope hers turned out like this for her. They're so pretty, prettier than I would have expected them to be, because when they started they were quite small. They were still pretty, but they were small, and now look at them, they're just so big and lovely, and I'm just enjoying them so much. Even though it won't be long, I'll need to dig these up and take them inside so we can enjoy them again next year. And I don't think it will be long until some of these vines begin to bloom. I think this one is a black-eyed Susan vine, which I'm really kind of surprised it's not already blooming, because my ones in the back are. This one doesn't get quite as much sun, but it does get some sun, so I think they will still bloom. I certainly hope they will. And then we should have Mexican flame vine growing before, or blooming before long. I'll just go ahead and go on over there while I'm going so I can show you. It's a small little vine right now, but it's so bright and beautiful when it blooms. And right now I'm just still going over that way, but I'll get there. I don't want to go too fast, because lots of times I do and it just gives you a big blur, so I want to go slow enough it won't be quite just a blur. But I wanted to show you here underneath these black elephant ears, here is a little vine coming up this obelisk, and it is the Mexican flame vine. It will have a beautiful orange bloom on there, so bright you can't miss them. And if you should miss it, the butterflies won't, and they'll certainly draw your attention to them. I also got this little one staked up. I told you that I needed to do that, and I did it, and it looks so much better. It was just splayed over there and falling on the ground, and now it's up where you can see it. And when it blooms a little bit more, which already has some color that draws your eye over there, but even though it's just one big mound at the top of a long stem, it's beautiful. So anyway, this gardener has got to turn back into that busy little beaver and get something done. Thank you for being a part of my garden scroll. I appreciate it very much. Before. And here's my after, which also happens to be after a rain. I was just putting things away and it started raining, which is wonderful. That means I won't have to water tomorrow. My little plants will still be very happy. But I clipped away quite a bit here in the middle so I could put my ladder up to clean the windows, and they all look pretty good. Lots better than they did. Even the plants look happier, and now you can see some of the little garden art that you haven't been able to see since early summer. I didn't get over in this side. It still looks pretty much the same. I also used my cleaner on my gazing ball, which looks a lot better. I was noticing this morning how these little morning glories had climbed up this little, well, they're the lily stems, but they had climbed up it, but now some of them are already closed up. But it was so pretty, and then we went for breakfast and came back, and already they're closing up. So if you ever wonder what do retired people do, I guess I could be a good example of that. Because I still lack 2 windows in the front. I hope to get done today. I'll have to move all that stuff away so I can put my ladder up again on the other side this time. I'm getting that overwhelmed feeling because I was wanting to have like a little garden tour with some of my friends could come out and we could enjoy the garden one last time before the frost. And I was hoping to also have the houseplants still outside. That's what I think of as the grand finale, when everything is as lush as it's going to be. And then also the houseplants are still out there shining right in there with them. But now I'm finding out that we have this week and next week, and the following week is going to be down into the 40s, which if you've been listening, you've already heard me say that I looked it up, and 45 degrees is when the non-hardy plants, the house plants, it begins to kill their root. So I don't want that. I certainly don't want the root of my house plants to be killed. And so I've got 2 weeks to get a little tour, if I'm going to have one. And then and really I would like for all the mums to be open before I do. But and I wanted to invite our church people, and now I should have invited them earlier. I should have invited them this Sunday, because next Saturday would probably be the best time to have it as far as what I can tell right now. But I may come up with something better. I don't know what I'll do right at the minute. I'm just, like I say, overwhelmed with it all. But I think part of that is because, oh my goodness, look at this ugly, oh well, it's ugly to me because he gets my little plants and makes them ugly. But there he is. Now, doesn't that look a lot better? But anyway, I've got to stop being overwhelmed because I wanted to enjoy this time. It's just now pretty enough I can. The weather is nice today. There's quite a bit of wind, but it's not terribly hot wind. It's not cool by any means yet, but I'm sure that it is coming. I knew it would, but I was hoping we had quite a bit of just really nice days before the cold sets in. And I still haven't redone these little pots. I still would like to put some coleus clippings in there and make this look better. And I hope I remember to bring in my spikes. I have 3 in these 3 pots, 1 in each of the top pot, and I want to bring those in before that 40-degree weather gets here in 3 weeks. So it's putting some time pressure on me. I don't do well with time pressure. Our pastor said he does best with time pressure, but not me. I wish I did. Well, maybe I don't even wish I did. I just hate to be pressured. I don't like pressure. I like it where you can have, the more time you can have, the more creative you can be, the more you can do. It's like planning a wedding was for me. I loved planning it, but then the closer it got to it, the harder it was and the more stressed it was, and if it didn't get done beforehand, it didn't get done that day. But I do need to calm down and get the pressure off so I can just enjoy this. I know that I really do deserve to get to enjoy it, and honestly, I don't know if anybody out there cares for the last hurrah in the garden or not. It just seems a shame for it to go away and not have a chance to show it all to someone, and just so others could enjoy and see what a gardener has been up to all this summer long, keeping this alive, and now that it can show off, I just think it should show off. It should have that opportunity. Look at this. I think the last time I showed it to you, it was right up, it was as tall as these little seeds right here, and now look. There's another group of seeds up there, about what, 3 foot up from where it used to be. It's loving this weather too. And I'm still wanting to take this Swedish ivy to my sister, this variegated Swedish ivy. I think she may have some of the regular. I don't think she has any of this, and I think she needs some. Besides, I'll probably kill mine, and I might need to get a start from her next year. And I was going to stop saying that because you're snared by the words of your mouth. I've got to stop saying I'm going to kill things. But you know, sometimes we can only go by history that repeats itself. But I'm really hoping that I won't kill them, that I'll learn to keep all of them alive in the winter time in the house, and then that I'll be able to do even the things I haven't been able to do, like the calabachoas. I'm still going to try to do those at some point in my life. I mean, I'm going to try every year, but I want to do it. These marigolds grew taller than I've ever had them to grow before. But this one is probably, oh my goodness, well, it comes up to my waist, a little taller than my waist. And a few of the little hardy geraniums are beginning to bloom. They love this cooler weather too. I know we're loving it, but at the same time, it's not going to last long. That's one of the things I want to ask the guy that wrote What a Plant Knows. I want to know, do they know? Do these little plants know that there's an imminent cold coming? Even if the actual frost doesn't get here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it won't be long. I love this chocolate plant. The bloom on it is so pretty. There's some of that little Trinity or widow's tears plant that I've been trying to get rid of because it's so invasive. It just keeps going and never stops. But I put it in this pot so it couldn't go too far, and I'm so glad it's blooming. It's so pretty. I'm glad I didn't just throw it all away. And also, probably tomorrow, I'm planning on taking a trip, not very far, but several miles, and these little starts off of my red crepe myrtle, I want to dig those up and take those to my niece Lacey, and maybe her mom. I'm not sure if they want a crepe myrtle or not. Because Jerry does the outside plants, and sometimes he gives me the evil eye for bringing him more work to do. But then when I think he likes a lot of them too once he gets them in there. Who wouldn't like a crepe myrtle? And the other little plant I would like to try to get dug up today is this, not this particular golden carrier, but growing up as I come down here, you can see its trunk. But if you look right over to the side there, there's another little one growing, and I want to get that up and take it to my niece also. I took one to my niece Carrie because this is a golden carrier globe bush, and I just thought she should have it because their names are very similar. And then I thought, well, I would like to get that to my niece's daughter, which would be my great niece, but I won't get to see her before frost, so I'm planning on digging that up and taking it to Lacey because I know Lacey will love it. I know she will take care of it, and she'll probably have it, and it'll grow up this big or bigger, and then it'll have a little start, and she can give those away. So, okay, this is going to be my before. I'm probably just going to move some of these pots out to where I can get there and then just move them right back because I don't really have time to thin things out right now before I get all the other stuff done that I need to get done. But I definitely do want to wash these windows and get that layer of hard water deposits off of there. So it might, I'm pretty sure the after is going to look pretty much just like the before. But first I got to move all this out and get over there some way. So we'll see how all that goes. Well, it's evident that not everything is working out for me today. But this will never work. I got my boots and my ladder, but it worked on my others, but it did not work on these. So I'm going to try a plan B, and I'm going to try to get my mop with a long handle. I don't think these have as thick of a film of hard water stains or lime scale, whatever you call it. I don't think it's quite as thick, so I'm going to try that instead of the way I did the others. So I did have to climb through there, so it's a good thing I had my boots on anyway, because I would hate to meet up with a snake in a tight hole like in between these pots. I'd never have a chance of getting out. But I did have to get in here to be able, the top one came off pretty quick, easily, but this bottom one had to be scrubbed a bit. But I think this is going to work fine. Okay, I'm not calling that job good, but I am calling it way better than what it was. And time to move on to the next chore. Those will let me some light in all winter long so that I'll be happy. Since my daughter says I have that depression that you get from not seeing the sun. She was only teasing, sort of, but you know how that sort of only teasing goes. But anyway, they look better. I feel better about having it done, and I do need to move on to get things done. Can you believe it's like 88 degrees in the shade? There's a hot wind blowing, and in 2 weeks we'll be in the 40s. So that sounds like saying a good time to say welcome to a scroll in the garden in Oklahoma. And then I just realized that sounded like I'm not in favor of Oklahoma, but I am. I love Oklahoma. Oklahoma is where I was born and raised, and the only thing I've ever known, really. But I do love Oklahoma. It has a pretty good season for growing, even though, you know, you've already known, I've told you too much about the heat, the Oklahoma heat, and then how short our falls end up being. But I still love Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma.